Mr. President, first I would like to ask for a roll call on the A1 amendment.
Roll call has been requested. A roll call will be granted. Senator Marty.
And I want to thank both Senator Wickland and Senator Little, who have been spending a lot of time on the insulin issue, because it is a life and death issue, as Senator Wickland's constituent has made clear to us. And the House put some strong language into their bill. Senator Wickland and Senator Little had some good amendments on it. And when it came to the Health and Human Services bill, when it came to the floor a few weeks ago, Senator Benson, I believe it was, offered an amendment very similar to this. I was really pleased about that, very excited to see that. Apparently the whole chamber was. It passed, I believe it was 65-0. There was no opposition to it. It was a very good amendment. So both halves of the bill had it in. I served on the conference committee. We spent many hours going through the bill. This was one of the provisions. Because there were two different versions, they kept setting it aside till after we had the budget targets. After we had the budget targets, we never met, so it went into the negotiations. I don't know or care what happened there. What I do know is this makes sense to do. And Senator Gazelka, I understand your plea to wait another year. In the case of hands-free driving, I don't know how many people die a year from people on their cell phones, distracted driving, but it seems to me it's something you want to address right away. I know that every member in this chamber has a health care policy that will avoid them being stuck with this kind of prices on this. The trouble is it's the Alex Smiths of the world who don't have that kind of coverage. And we can wait, but Senator Wickland's constituents, others who have been speaking out on this, they can't wait. For them, it is urgent. When Senator Wickland said she was thinking of an amendment on this, I figured because we were given the instructions that any amendments to any of the bills had to be approved by the triumvirate, or whatever we're calling the three leaders, we asked the governor, we asked the speaker. Both of them said they would sign off, but they can't. That doesn't mean it goes through unless all three do. So I approached Senator Gazelka and asked him. He said to talk to Senator Benson. I guess your caucus this issue some, and I heard from Senator Wickland that the answer was no, you're not willing to support it at this time. In the conference committee, there was one DFLer on the Senate side and one Republican in the House side. The one Republican in the House side said, this must be included. He tweeted that yesterday when we talked about doing this. This must be included. The one person we've heard from the House minority says it must be included. The House majority wants it to be included. The governor wants it to be included. Lots of us in the Senate minority want it to be included. And for the Senate majority, you offered an amendment very similar to this. And it passed 65-0. Who's opposed to this? I mean, I know the pharmaceutical industry is opposed, but who in this chamber is opposed to it? Why can't we do this? I'm going to hand out Senator Gazelka's handout because he's talking about Lispro, and I think Senator Benson talked about that, the generic for Humalog, and how Lilly is voluntarily selling a half-price version of Humalog. That's nice. Indianapolis drug maker Insulin said Insulin Lispro will cost $137.35 per vial. That's nice. You could buy a vial of Humalog, not the generic, not the biosimilar, but the real one, in 1996 for $21. I know there's been inflation since 1996, but it hasn't gone up to $137. It hasn't gone up sixfold, 600%. That's the discount price because they're being generous. Also talk about getting a vial of 5 quick pens for $2.65. European countries, you can buy 5 quick pens for about $50 to $75. That's nice. But it doesn't help the constituents who don't have the health care that pays for this. So I guess we were asking because we wanted, if Senator Gazelka would sign off on this, all three of the leaders would agree to it. All three of the leaders would. I know there's at least one House Republican, the only one I've talked to about anything related to this, who wants it to be included. He said that after the bill was closed up. He said that yesterday. I know the Speaker would agree to it. The House majority wants it. Why can't we do this? Again, I appreciate that the companies are making discount offers, but look at the prices. It's purely a ripoff. And I just urge the majority to change its mind and accept this amendment because it would help a lot of our constituents, it would move through here well, and it won't gum up the system because the other body's willing to accept it. The governor is willing to accept it. All we need is you, and again, you've expressed in the 65-0 vote that this chamber supports it too. I urge your support.